Hi, this is Somideep, and I welcome all of you to our YouTube channel, Anyone Can eLearn. Today, we will see how the offset function works. This will be three-part series of offset function. In the first part, we will talk about how the offset function works. We will see what all parameters it takes. And in the subsequent videos, we will take few examples to see where we can use the offset function, how can we create dynamic ranges, dynamic list of values using offset function. So let's begin and see how the offset function works. In order to know how the offset function works, what I have done is I have created this small data set which consists of 5 columns. The first column is sales region, the second one is sales rep, the third one is product, the fourth one is units, and the fifth one is total sales. And we will see using the offset function how can we fetch some of the values from this data set. So we write the offset function, and if you notice it carefully, the first parameter or the first argument offset function requires is a reference. So we have to understand that if we have to use offset function, it's very important that we define the reference, or we should know what should be our reference. In this case, we will take sales region or the cell A6 as our reference point or the reference cell. Then the second option that we have is rows. Now, rows here means how many rows you would like to move from our reference. And if I give any positive number of rows, it means that it will, from the reference, it will move down. And if I give negative number here, it means that from the reference, it will go up. So this is very important, and we should understand how the reference works here. So here we will give, let's say I give row 1, and we will see what is the outcome, and we will try to understand how this offset function is fetching the value. Then we move to the third argument, which is the calls or the column 1. So in this, what we require is we'll have to now give some numbers, or I would say from the reference cell, how far we are going to move towards left or towards right. Now, if you give a negative number, it will move towards left of the reference. If you give a positive number, it will move towards right of the reference cell. Since we do not have anything which is on the left hand side, we will give a positive number here, and the positive number, let's say we give number 2 here. Then we have to give, or rather these are your optional fields. You can give height and width as well. So for our first example, let's keep it at 0, 0, 0, or we keep it blank, or we do not give anything here. I close this, and if I press enter, I see I get int, which is my this cell. Now let us understand how this offset function has fetched this ink value here. So we have given A6, which is cells region, the column heading, as our reference point. And then we have given rows. So since we have given 1 here, our rows, it has, as I have mentioned, that if we give a positive number, it will go below the reference. So it has come below the reference by 1 cell. That is why it is 1 here. So it has come here in the second, that is, it is now referring to A7 here. This is a reference when it comes down by 1 row. Then we have given 2 in our calls parameter or the column parameter. So what it has done is it has moved 2 columns from A7. Since 2 is positive, and as I had already mentioned that if you give a positive number in calls, it moves towards the right hand side. So from A7, that is from this cell which contains a value EMEA, it has moved 2 columns. That is why this 2 brings this value of ink here, and that is what we have got. Similarly, if I use offset once again, I give my reference once again to A6, and then I give this as 0. So I am not moving anywhere. I will refer to A6 when I give 0, and in column I move to 2 more columns. So I give 2 here. So from A6 it will move to 2 more columns towards your right side. And then in height I mention 2. So it will have 2 rows, and in width I mention 2, and let's see what it gives. So what it has done is from my reference, which is my A6, I have given rows as 0. So it was still referring to A6. Then in column I gave it 2. So it has moved 2 columns from there. So sales rep and product. So when I have A6, 0, 2, offset is referring to the cell C6. Now from here we have given height as 2, which means it will take product and ink because it is referring to 2 height, 2 cells, and we have given width as 2. So it will take these 2 because from product it is units and product. So product and unit is 2 width, and product and ink is 2 height. So if I now press enter, I get product, ink, units, and the value is 100. So in this way you can use offset to move from one cell to another, from one row to another, and you can create a subset from a data set. We will take one more example. We will use offset function, and then we will give you a problem to solve. Once again, I will use offset function. I will keep my reference as A6. This time, I give my row as 5, or I would say, let me keep it to 0. Then in my column, I will keep it to 0. However, in height, I will give 7, and in width, I will give 5. I'll pause for a moment and would like you to think what would be the outcome. If you have guessed it correctly, it will give me the entire data set what we had. So in this case, what we have done, using the offset function, we were able to retrieve the entire data set. Let us understand it once again. We have given the reference of A6, which is my cells region. Then I did not move either down or to left. That's why I have given 0 and 0 as my rows and calls parameter value. And from here, what I have done is I have given the height as 7. It means that from cells region, the height would be 7 rows, and from cells region, the width will be 5 columns. Now using this, whatever was there, it is getting fetched here. I hope you are now able to understand how the offset function works. Depending on your reference, you can either move towards your left, towards your right by giving a negative or a positive value in calls. You can move up or you can move below by giving a negative or a positive value in rows, and then you can optionally give or specify the height or the width of the cells from the reference. So if any number given as height, it means that from the reference cell or from the cell which is fetched as part of first 3 arguments of offset, it will take those many number of rows, and on the width it will take those many number of columns. So with this, I conclude my first video on offset. I hope you are able to understand how the offset function works. And if you are able to understand it correctly, this is the question for you to solve. I will wait for your answer in our comment section. I have kept the same data set here, same data set. The question is, if the reference cell is cells rep, which is D5, how will we fetch details of cells region using offset? Now your outcome will look something like this. Your outcome will look something like this. I will wait for your answers. And if you have liked this video, please show your thumbs up. Please share with your friends and colleagues. And do subscribe our channel. Anyone can e-learn. Thank you.